Virtual series is welcoming you to the presentation, Get Your Butt in the Seat, Tips to Get You Organized, Motivated, and Writing. This presentation is sponsored by I Read Indies. Thank you again to I Read Indies for sponsoring this event. Also, we'd like to thank you all for your continued support of our virtual series and of the GCLS in general. Donations are always welcomed and greatly appreciated. Donations can be made throughout the event and after. And if you're catching this as a recording, you can make that donation at donorbox.org/GCLS-VS. These donations are used to cover the technical costs of the virtual series, so we can continue to bring you exciting sessions with relevant content, and no donation is too small. Let's get started. We hope that you enjoy this event. All right, Felice. How are you?
Susie, I'm good. We're both getting over some illnesses, but we're excited to be here.
I know. It's been quite a week for me. I apologize in advance if I start coughing. I will mute myself if I can get the mute button quick enough. I've had bronchitis all week, and this is the first day that I actually have a voice that is presentable, I think. At least I hope.
You always have a voice.
Well, so anybody who does not know, this is Felice Cohen, and she is a fantastic writer. And I'm so excited to be able to present this with you, Felice. This is a really important topic, getting your butt in the seat and getting organized so that people can get motivated and get writing.
Happy to be here with you. All right, so we thought it would be a good idea to have some learning objectives. What are we going to try to end up with? We want you to get from this a couple things. One is how to create an intention for your writing session. You sit down in the seat, but what's your goal? We're going to go through that as well. And also, we want to help you list some ways to stop procrastinating. I know nobody does that, and get writing, because it's important. That's what we're here. We want to get our butts in the seat.
And we're also going to go through some strategies for scheduling yourself into your appointment book, because that is one of the best and quickest and most effective ways to get your butt writing. And we're also going to be going over 3 ways. Actually, we'll go over a lot more, but by the end of this session, you should be able to describe 3 ways that you can remove distractions that often plague writers. I know they plague me, that's for sure. I don't know about you, Felice, but we want to make sure that this is an interactive session. And by what we mean by that is we're going to be looking at the chat. We want to have you participate and throw your thoughts into there. We may not be able to see everybody's we might not be able to get to everybody's chat, but we really want to encourage you to chat with each other, because this is about learning from each other. This is a learning community. This isn't about me and Felice just throwing a bunch of stuff at you, presenting boring just information. We want this to be a 2-way, or actually multi-way conversation. Yeah. All right. This is who I am. In case you don't know, my name is Susie Carr, and I'm the author of 14 novels, soon to be 15. As you can see there, I've got my new book coming out in March 2024, Unpuzzled. And this is the first day that I'm actually revealing this cover to everybody. This was created by the great, famous Anne McMahon. Anne McMahon, you did an amazing job, and I'm really grateful. So anyway, yes, I'm also a digital content manager at UMBC, the University of Maryland, Baltimore County. I've been there for 16 and a half years. So I love producing content. I'm a learning experience designer, and that means I create courses and I facilitate them. And I am a presenter with GCLS, ATD, which is the Association for Training and Talent and Development, and UMBC, where I work. I am a former GCLS board member, and I also produce book trailers under my company, Sunny Bee Productions. So that's who I am in a nutshell. Let's see who Felice is.
And they're great book trailers. So I'm an author of 3 books. One is Half In, a coming of age memoir, Forbidden Love. When I was 23, I had an affair, a secret affair with my boss. She was 57, had a partner. I used to live in a 90 square foot New York City studio. A video of it went viral, and I wrote a book on living large in 90 square feet. I've been a professional organizer for over 25 years. So a lot of the tips today is about getting you motivated, whether it's to organize a closet or to get writing, because it's all about motivating you. I speak around the country on organizing, on decluttering. I teach memoir workshops, and I'm happy to be doing this with Susie. We both like to get our butts in the seat, and sometimes it's not easy, even though we've both written books, but once you're in the seat, how do you stay in the seat? That's what we want to get past here.
To get us started, just to prime ourselves for this session, one of the things that both Lisa and I think feel very critical, we think this is very critical, setting your intention. Because without an intention, you're just, you're at the whim of your day. And for me, I set my intention before I write, because I think that helps me to know, okay, what is my goal? What is my strategy? What do I want to accomplish in this writing session? I don't care if that writing session is 5 minutes long or 5 hours long. Having that idea of what I want to accomplish is really important. That being said, what we want to do for 2 minutes is we want to have you just jot down, do it on your computer, do it pen and paper, whatever works for you. Take 2 minutes and write down what your intention for your next writing session would be. And just to prime that for you, when I write an intention for myself, I say, I intend to develop my character, Camille's personality today, or I intend to create a plot line an overall plot line for my book. Whatever that is, what is the next thing you need to do? Go ahead and write that down for 2 minutes. Okay. Hopefully that was successful for everybody and you got some ideas down for your next writing session. Felice, did you come up with your intention?
Yeah, for my intention, sometimes it's just to write. It's such a gift we have that we get to write. And for me, people are digging ditches and they're working all these different jobs. And I have other jobs, but sitting down to write is a privilege. And it's a gift. I read this book once, How to Be a Millionaire, and they said, pay yourself first. And I took it, play yourself first. What do you love to do? Whether it's work out, whether it's write, do that first. Do that before the day gets crazy. And I know we're going to go into procrastinating. I'm looking at this one. Kelly wrote, I know what I need to do, but have procrastinated for months because I don't like writing contemporary. My question is, why write contemporary then? Can you write something else? What would you like to write, Kelly? You want to write historical fiction? You want to write memoir? Why do that? Maybe you started a book and you feel like you want to finish that. You can't say why. That's okay.
It's a secret.
But sometimes we get ourselves in a corner and we think we have to do this. We started it. And you know what? Once you just let go of it, maybe that pressure comes off. And maybe when the pressure's off, it opens you up to allow you to then write and get ideas about it. You can do anything you want to do.
Mm-hmm. It's almost like I think of it as, again, I'm using the word prime again because I really love that word, but priming the pump, opening up the spigot. It allows you it gives you some direction to be able to sit down and say, okay, let me pen something, even if my intention is to write 50 words, whatever that might be all you need to get that thing started. We have some people sharing so we have Dr. VJ. I intend to break into my new book for NaNoWriMo, set up a scene, decide some story and characters. Fantastic. That's a great intention. And Anne McMahon, to hit my daily word count goal with content I won't later want to set on fire. We've all been there. Absolutely. Yeah, I agree completely. Good job on that, everybody.
Yeah. It's good to have a game plan. I always say you get a bookcase from IKEA. You have to put it together. You can't do that without the instructions. Even though the instructions are in some language, it's hard to understand, but you can't do that. You need to have it. That's what we're doing. We want to get writing. We want to learn how to prioritize our tasks. And priority in these tasks can change hour by hour. They can change within minutes. We want to minimize distractions. That's one of the number one things. This thing right here, this phone, this is the biggest problematic part of writing. It's a huge distraction. So how do we minimize that? And we're going to go into more of this, but determine your why, which is probably the most important part of anything you do.
Wow, I'm reading here. Ann McMahon, your goal is 3,500 words a day. That is incredibly impressive and overwhelming for me. I think that's awesome. But you are, from what I understand, Ann, you right now are in your RV in Vermont, and you have just said you've shut out the outside world, except for being here with us. Of course, we appreciate that, to write your next novel. So that's fantastic. Yeah, so many good comments coming in. Thank you so much, everybody, for that.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this tip. Number one, distractions. God, they really can plague us, can't they? In the chat, share with us and share with everybody what distracts you from writing. What is it that keeps you from doing your craft? I have a million, and I have too many to go through in this session, but I can tell you that my cell phone, just like Felice said, is a big distractor. And one of the things that I like to do is put it in another room. When I know I'm going to be writing, I like to put it in another room, and I turn my notifications off on the Mac that I'm working on because, of course, everything is tied together. And I'm like a squirrel. I really am. A ping, and I'm like, woo, and just it takes me out of my head. And no matter what you're writing, you need to be in your head, in that story, in that character, in that place, that setting. And when you have these distractions, they can really get in the way. Let's talk about some things I'll share some things that are my biggest distractors is negative self-talk. Am I the right person to tell this story? Can I really tell this story? Should I even be writing? Does anybody even want to read my writing? Oh, is this story worth telling? All this negative self-talk, that tends to ruminate in my head. And I'm not sure if other people feel that way too, but that is a huge distraction for me. Another one is that comparing ourselves to other people, right? Oh, this person's writing 2 books a year. Look at me. I can't even get one out. I can't even get one out in 4 years. It took me 4 years to write Unpuzzled. And so comparisons can be one of those distractions that pulls you away from the craft of writing. It certainly pulled me away for 4 years. It really did. And then another one is reviews. Reading those reviews from things that you just worked on, and now you're trying to get into a new book. That is a derailment, a big time. What about you, Felice? What kind of distractions have you come across?
Well, because I write memoir, I'm not thinking somebody else could have written this better because they don't know my life, but those are totally valid. And I think it was Dr. VJ who said imposter syndrome, and I get it. There were so many times, and I spent about 15 years working on Half In, and I thought, who's going to want to read this book besides my mom, who probably might not have wanted to read it? You get in those thoughts, but for me, it's almost more physical. If I see an unmade bed, I'm an organizer, so if I see dishes in the sink, so those are the tasks that literal eyesight distractions. So I kind of work on those. I'll get dishes done, I'll make the bed, I'll put away whatever needs to get done. And not only am I removing those distractions, but I'm also doing these little tiny tasks that actually motivate me towards the larger tasks. When I sit down to write, I might take 15 minutes to do these little things, put things away, return a phone call, whatever I need to do. And then I shut off my phone and I sit down in the seat. And it's so hard to get in the seat. So you want to make sure that those distractions don't distract you. And I know we're going to go into more things that we do, but it's all these little things that can definitely, your cell phone, right? You go down that rabbit hole of things. Yeah, I love how you say you put the phone in the other room because you don't always have to respond to everything right away. I think we get in that.
Yeah, I see a comment that waiting for the ideal time. Oof, I love this comment because that is so true. That is such a distraction, waiting for the ideal time. Is it ever ideal? Is it ever ideal? Who doesn't have 20 million things vying for your attention? I know I do. And so I love what you said, Felice, about sometimes just getting some of those little tasks that you know you have to do, those tasks that you can handle within a certain time frame, get them off your plate so that they're not distracting you. One of a mentor of mine many years ago told me that, said, if you have a list of 20 things you need to get done, you need to tackle the easiest things, the things that definitely need to be done that day. Just if you know you can do them quickly, those things that you can do quickly, get them off your plate so that they're not taking up time in your head. those little things can really take up time in your head. And some people are saying that they're so tired by the end of their workday. Yeah, that's pretty valid. When you're cognitive overload, somebody had said, I get that. I just finished a graduate program. And that's why I didn't write for 4 years, because of cognitive overload. I had way too many thoughts, too many things coming in, too much information coming in my head that I had no room for anything else. And I think it's valid to say sometimes there are going to be times in your life when you need to prioritize. You need to figure out, is writing the top priority right now in my life, or is it secondary? Only you know the answer to that. And for me, I did take more time than I wanted to off. I don't think that was actually necessary for me to take 4 years off, but I had a hard time balancing graduate school, full-time job, and writing. But yeah, we're going to talk through some strategies today, because I know that's really what people are asking for here, is some strategies. What do you do in a case like that when you have 20 million things and they all seem to be a priority?
But Susie, you said you took those years off to do it, and sometimes that removed the pressure. And then when you sat down to write this book, it poured out of you in 7 minutes. So that's okay. And I see Anne's comment here, the stumbling block for her is lack of preparation. And you know what? Your writing time could just be making a list of what you want to do instead of sitting down and feeling like you're spinning your wheels and wasting time. Maybe your writing today is just making a list of what you want to do. And that's giving you like those steps to build that bookcase. Sometimes that's what you have to do. And that's okay. That's not, maybe you didn't get 3,500 words, but you got a bullet list of 10 or 12 things you want to work on, or an idea, or even chapters of the book, and what you want to get done.
Yeah, I love that, because I can say in 4 years, I did have this idea for this book. And because I went to Columbia 4 years ago, and that's where the book is set. And although I didn't pen it, I didn't write it down. What I did was I did have notes, bullet points for when I was ready to write it. So that's another strategy. Maybe you can't sit down and flesh out a full novel or a short story right now, but can you sit down and bullet point ideas so that when you do have that time, then all those ideas are there for you waiting.
Yeah. Like Ashley, you work on the map. You don't have to do the writing every day. Sometimes even if you take a couple of days off, your brain is still churning around, but you've removed the pressure of feeling like you have to write. Make sure you take a day or two off. Let it germinate in your mind.
Yeah, I love it. All right. There you go. Number 2.
Yeah, setting specific intentions or goals. I know we talked about this. We had you write down some at the beginning. It's so important to give yourself an intention or a goal, because when we're writing, you might have a publisher, you might have an editor saying, this needs to be on my desk by November 1st, or you have to get it done, like the November writing challenge, which is great because it pushes you. You're doing it with a group and it's help, but sometimes you need to come up with your own goals. And for me, as an organizer, I always have a huge to-do list. And there could be 20, 30 things on that to-do list, but that's overwhelming, right? It's very overwhelming. So I might get up in the morning and take 3 Post-its and write 3 different things on 3 Post-its. One could be an easy thing, like we were talking about earlier, that's doable. And then I do the easy one, and then just seeing 3, I might put them on my fridge. And then when I finish one, I throw it away. And then you're seeing progress. And progress is so important towards motivation, because when you see progress, you get motivated to keep going. So sometimes you have to make easy things, like we said, make it doable, make these goals attainable. Always tackle the easy ones first, and then it will motivate you to keep going.
Yeah, and we all have our ways of doing this, of having these task lists to have for a day when you are free to tackle them. I love technology, so I personally use an app called To Do from Microsoft, and this way I have a running list all the time, and I don't have to keep rewriting the list over and over again. It's there for me. I set due dates with it. So if you have, share with us in the chat if you have technology apps for things that you use as like productivity apps or checklist apps that you enjoy using that have worked for you, because I think it's important to share that kind of information if you have that. I see Physical Planner and Notion. So Notion, I take that's an app, I'm assuming. Google Calendar is very good. Yeah, so I agree. That's another good one. Excellent. Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah. So at the end of every day, and I've always done this in every job I've had and my own things, is rewriting my to-do list. at the end of the day and cleaning it up. And when you sit down, as working from home and doing my own things, I have to motivate myself. I've always had to do that. And it's a list that is my kind of go-to. That's my boss saying, you have to do this. And when you see it, sometimes I will highlight it or prioritize it or write the 3 things to do in the morning. So when I wake up, I have my goal ready to go. And we're going to talk a little later about using rewards to get you motivated. I do all these things. I've rolled dice and get people motivated by roll dice and how many, whatever the number, that's how many things you have to get rid of. It's like distracting yourself from the actual overwhelming task and doing it. If you wake up a half hour early every morning and say, just get right in the seat, just go right to your laptop and work without doing anything else. Don't check your phone. And maybe it takes 21 days to create a routine and a habit. Try doing that. And half the time when you finally sit down to do something, you realize it wasn't that hard. It didn't take you as long as you thought. I've rewritten things on a to-do list for weeks. And then finally I do it. And I thought, oh, that wasn't that hard. So It's really just doing it. This is it, right? Got to do it.
Yeah. And so Felice had talked to me about the dice thing before. I saw a post that she made and I thought, wow, that's a great idea. So Felice, I've been like donating things and getting rid of things by rolling my dice every Wednesday when it's trash day or recycle day. And so I do that. It's a fantastic way to be able to say, okay, I have 5 things that I need to look for today. How can I rid the clutter? And I was thinking, how can I use this in my writing? How can I use this? And to get myself motivated to sit down and do something. Because for me, it's the blank page. I have to write a character and I'm like staring at a blank page, or it's just overwhelming and intimidating for me. And so what I do now with this whole dice thing is I roll it. And if say it's a 6, I do. So 6 times 10 is 60 words. Right. I need to write 60 words. And this is when it usually works for me. At the end of a writing session, so that when I start a writing session, I have 60 words in. Right. It's much less intimidating to sit there instead of coming to a blank screen or a blank, you're starting a scene from scratch and you're like, oh, it's so hard to get into this. I already did that the last writing session. And thanks to rolling the dice now, it's okay. I rolled a 5, I multiply that by 10. I have to write at least 50 words for my next writing session. I can't tell you how much that helped me.
Good.
I can't tell you how much that it really does. So if you are out there and you are struggling with filling a page or coming up with starting a fresh scene or just sitting down and feeling overwhelmed by a brand new writing session, that is a way to trick your brain. So Thank you for that, Felice.
Anytime. Yeah. You don't want to think about the task. You just want to do it.
Yeah. And I see Jean says, break the goal into mini goals to choose from on different days. And we're going to go into a little bit of that after. It's a really great strategy, Jean. Let's see here. What are we up to next? Set a timer. Yeah, this is one of my favorite hacks is setting a timer. So setting a timer. Yeah. I like setting a timer personally. I like doing 15 minutes. I like short bursts because this is what always happens. If I'm struggling to get started, I set the timer for 15 minutes and I'm like, I can't get up from this chair and I can't stop typing. I have to type anything. So if I have nothing in my head, I'm going to talk about the lampshade in my room and I'm going to write for 15 minutes about that damn lampshade. And eventually my characters start coming in, the scene for a new set, the setting comes in, describing something, tasting something, always happens when I'm doing that. And so what that does is it takes the stress and it opens up that creativity, takes the stress away because you're not worried about what you're writing. You're just free writing for 15 minutes. And that always works. And what happens is I get mad when the timer goes off because I'm like, it's distracting, but I just continue writing. That's what happens. I just go way past that 15 minutes. Yeah. So that's what you can do. And when the ringer does go off, say you set it for 15 minutes, 45 minutes, whatever works for you. And if you're into the task, reset the timer like I usually do. But if not, that's when you get up and that's when you stretch, you check your emails, you go to the bathroom, drink coffee, whatever, eat that delicious snack. And then if time permits, get back in the seat and reset the timer. And you can aim to do this in short bursts a couple times a day. But don't forget to shut off the notifications, except the timer.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Pomodoro is a great,
Yes.
thing to use. I do 45 minutes because I feel like it's a long enough time and it doesn't feel that long. And sometimes I'll take a piece of paper and I'll put 4 or 6 boxes. I'll just draw boxes. And every time I finish 45 minutes, I put an X in it. So that's my goal. And because when I see the X's filling up, I feel like I'm also making progress. And for me, seeing progress, like I said, motivates me to keep going. And if I have to get, check boxes, lists, it's a huge thing. And sometimes that motivates me. And then maybe at the end, it's get a latte or watch your favorite episode or go for a walk or whatever you want to do. And we'll go into the rewards in a minute. It's whatever you need to do that works for you. And you got to try different things. You find what works for you.
Yeah, you find that exactly. And hopefully we're giving you ideas today. Even if one idea sticks, then hopefully your time here with us is valuable, because sometimes that's all it takes is one hack. You don't have to do all of these, but maybe one thing will work for you and it'll change the way your writing is. We have Vicky who says, I like setting focus time on my laptop. Yes, focus time is a great feature. It's going to shut off your notifications, and you can break that into an hour into chunks with breaks. Focus time is a really great feature. I'm not sure, is that just a Mac thing or an iPhone thing? Because I know I have an iPhone and a Mac, and focus time is fantastic for that.
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay. So cool. Number 4.
Yeah. Celebrating mini accomplishments. This is huge because when we want to write, and if we're talking about writing a book, it takes a long time to get that book from the idea, writing it, editing it, finishing the book. So you really don't have that attaboy until the very end. So how can we celebrate mini accomplishments? And for me, it's so important because that motivates me. Maybe you finish the book blurb. Celebrate that mini accomplishment. Maybe you have a new cover, post it, get feedback. I used to do this thing where I had a photocopy of my hand and I put it up on my fridge. And every time I finished something, if it was like a 45 minutes, I would go up and high five. Maybe because I was an athlete my whole life.
I love it.
You know what? It's just like pat yourself on the back. It's whatever you need to do, because writing is pretty much a solitary thing. We're here, we're second guessing, we're doing whatever we're doing. And we have to get that feedback. I think it helps. That's the whole point of social media. But celebrate anything, whatever it is. You finished 100 words. You prepared for the next day. A writing buddy. Share it with each other. It's so important because it's a slog, right? And it's a lot of work. You guys have been writing. It's I want to write this section and this scene. And it's how do I look at the blank page? So maybe if you write those 60 words, high five. Maybe you just text your friend and be like, I just wrote this, high five, and they send you a high five back. I have a writing buddy. I think
right. It doesn't have to be this crazy big thing that you do for yourself. It could be something that just make it something that feels right to you, that actually feels like a reward. For me, I don't like to have any kind of beverages around me when I'm drinking because it distracts me. I love drinking green tea. I drink green tea a lot, but I don't allow myself to drink it when I'm writing. Only when I'm on my breaks, and so that to me tells me I could use that as a mini accomplishment. I didn't really think about doing that, but I guess in essence, that's what I'm doing is after I'm done writing, I get to go have my green tea and it feels really good. And it's one of those things that I think celebrating those mini accomplishments is so important. Having those people that you can, if you have friends that you can talk to and say, hey, I just wrote this really hard scene. Just having that kind of thing is really cool to be able to communicate that and celebrate that. Yeah. What do other people do? Feel free to share it in the chat. What kind of things you do to reward yourself, to celebrate these mini accomplishments that you have? What are some of the things you do? Ann McMahon, I buy used cars. Good. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I have a writing buddy. It's great. You Zoom and you set homework and goals. And that's what I mentioned before about rewards. If you finish something that you set out, get yourself a latte, go for a walk, do something. It's like that dangling carrot. It might be something simple. Sometimes I would play a song that like really got me and I would dance for 3 minutes and get my energy back up. And then 45 minutes, do it again. And you burn some calories and you feel good. You change it up.
That's a great idea. And that does a couple of things, right? It gets the endorphins going and it helps to reframe your mind, exercise. Physical movement in any form is a really great idea. I do a lot of dancing too around my office behind me here. I take breaks and I put my music on and I dance because I love to dance. I love, somebody said one can tweet. Yeah. So that brings us back to the distraction of the phone, of social media. It's a huge distraction. I waste a lot of time looking at funny dog videos on Instagram. I love looking at funny dog videos, and it's a huge distraction, but it's a reward. It's a way to celebrate. Okay, I just did a half an hour of writing. I can look at my Instagram feed with dog videos for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say, set a timer, because you go down that rabbit hole and you're like 20, 30 minutes later. And you know what a great app is? At the end of the week, my phone tells me how much time I spent on TikTok or Instagram. And you look in 3.5 hours and you think, how much more writing could I have gotten done? So that's a good way to gauge where you're putting your time and try to.
That is so hard. And that goes into marketing too, because I tell myself I have to be on social media. I have to be, because I have to interact and I have to market and setting a timer is extremely helpful, because yes, when you write a book and you want to promote it, you have to be on social, but you have to think about how that's eating into your productivity. Tip number 5 is schedule time to write. This is pretty basic. Share with us, what are some of the obstacles you have to a writing schedule? Do you have obstacles to creating a writing schedule? Have you created a writing schedule, and does it work for you? What are some ways that you can approach scheduling your writing sessions to make them stick better? Maybe your mornings are busy. Why squeeze it in your morning if it's busy? Maybe later on at night, if you have kids, they're off to bed, or significant others, maybe watching a TV show that you don't need to watch. Maybe that's when you schedule your time to do that. Me, I get up at 2:30 in the morning, which is crazy, I know, but that's what I do, because it's the only time that I have a block of time that I can dedicate solely to this. And it works for me. It sticks for me. Yeah. But so you have to find what time works for you. And I think it's really important to schedule it like you would any other important appointment, if it's important to you. Yeah. So if you have a doctor appointment, you're not going to just miss it because you feel like watching a TV show or scrolling through social media. No, you're going to be there because you've scheduled that in advance. Schedule it in advance. That is the main thing to do. A lot of times we have too many distractions, too many responsibilities. You got to find that time, and maybe it's 5 minutes a day. That's okay if it's 5 minutes a day. Whatever works for you, schedule it. One more point I just want to make on this is to be flexible with yourself. Don't beat yourself up if you did schedule and things do take over. This is life. This is going to happen. You're going to get sick. Somebody in your family is going to get sick. These things happen. Make time for that. Understand there's flexibility involved in this. But if you really want to get writing and you want to make it part of your life, try your best to stick to a schedule. So Ona says that she has a writing buddy and you schedule time to write together. That's brilliant. Talk about being able to be there for each other. And what it does is it cements that. It makes it a priority because somebody else is depending on you. Yeah, that's really cool. Love it.
Georgia wrote, how do we find pockets of wasted time that we can repurpose? And I think, like you said, scheduling it or doing it before your day gets away from you. We have kids, we have parents we're taking care of, we have full-time jobs, we have all these things we have to do. And if you make it a priority, you will do it. Just say, this is what I'm going to do, even if it's for 15 minutes. It takes to make it a habit. Maybe you get up and you do it before breakfast, or you do it on your lunch break, or you do find the time. And like you say, if you schedule it, make yourself do it. Prioritize.
Yeah. Our next one is set mini deadlines.
Yeah, setting mini deadlines. We remember from college, we had a syllabus. And you had your homework and you had your quizzes and your midterm. And the whole thing was getting you to the final paper or final exam. And that's like your book at the end. So how do you get there? So for me, it's setting mini deadlines. And I go to the end. When do you want this book done? Maybe you say January 1st. I'm just pulling that out. So how do you go backwards? I need to have a first draft by this time, or I need to have, and then you put it in and you set these deadlines. And maybe I want to have half the book done by here, and break it down into these mini deadlines. For one, you're seeing progress. So you're motivating yourself and you're working through it. And also, in the same regard, if you miss a deadline, why did you miss that deadline? Am I too busy? Am I not scheduling the time? Am I too distracted by whatever's going on? Is it the holidays? Is it my kids? Is it a new relationship? Whatever it is, what is keeping you from hitting those deadlines? Make some of the deadlines attainable. Make them easy. Not because we want everything to be easy, but when things are easy, you're more apt to do them. Really break them down and try to set them like that.
And that brings that, I really like what you just said there, Felice, because set yourself up for success by making your goals, your deadlines attainable. Like you said, so one of the big mistakes that I tend to make every time I'm ready to write a new book is, okay, the book's going to be 75,000 words. I want it done. I want to be able to write this thing, the first draft, within 6 weeks. And I have to write all these words every week. And then when the first week goes by and I don't hit that, I feel defeated. I feel like I feel like a failure. And then that kind of just snowballs into the next week. And what I found was, when I take a step back, because I do this every time, I don't know why I keep making the same mistake over and over again, but then I finally come to my senses and I say, okay, remember last time this happened too. And that's when I have to say, okay, what can I do that's going to make me feel successful? And in my mind, I'm like, if I write at least 500 words a day, then I've been successful. And then sure enough, I usually hit 1,500 words a day, no problem, because I'm not feeling stressed out about it.
Yep.
So be flexible with this. Don't set yourself up for failure by doing unrealistic deadlines if that's not what you can do in your life, because we all have, some of us have full-time jobs, kids, dogs, significant others, 2 jobs, 3 jobs, whatever it might be, whatever your situation is. And if it's not enough hours in a day, you're not going to get it done. So set yourself up, set the dreams and the goals realistically, and then you'll be pleasantly surprised if you surpass them.
I like who wrote it. Some of her friends will sign a contract. She has to donate money to a candidate she hates if she doesn't meet the deadline. That's funny. And that's good. And whatever motivates you, absolutely. And we're going to talk about this too in a little while, but you're doing something, you're creating something out of nothing, right? You want to have fun with it too. It's not, you're setting yourself up to write, and that's fun. So look at it as how lucky you are to get to write and to sit down and say, I'm going to write. Sometimes a blank page can be not so intimidating. Sometimes it can, but sometimes it's like this free, I can write anything. I can create any story I want. So look at it as a blessing. Do whatever you want to do.
Yeah. And Georgia, you hit it right on the head. This session is inspiring because everybody's participating in the chat. And thank you, everybody, for participating in the chat, because I think what's being said in there is very helpful. Everybody's sharing ideas of what helps them. And yeah, that's super helpful. And so we're talking about a little bit about accountability. Anne had mentioned here in the comments that she makes herself accountable to other people so that they're counting on her. She's going to do better. And that brings us to our next point, which is to make yourself accountable. I work well with accountability too. I have accountability partners. So I have a trio that we message each other often to talk about where we are, what we're doing. And it just helps to keep that on par. But also I have a beta team that I have an alpha reader and then a beta team. And for this latest book, I had a strict deadline because I have an idea. I want to get this out by March. And so I needed to make sure that I got my butt in the seat and wrote this book in time to be able to let it marinate, first of all, take alpha reader insight and fix everything, and then send it to my beta team on time. I consider my beta readers and my editor my accountability partners. If I'm not hitting my deadline, I'm messing them up too. And so that helps to motivate me big time. It really does. Some people might want to use social media for that reason, to be able to post on social media that, hey, I'm doing this. And then at the end of the day, hey, I did this. So if you don't have an accountability team, that might be a really good way to do it. Hold yourself accountable in that way publicly. Yeah. So what do you all do for your accountability? Put that in the comments in the chat section, because I think that's a really helpful way to be able to stay on task. Yeah. What do you do, Felice? How do you stay accountable?
For me, like the sense of accomplishment is huge. I've always been a self-motivator for myself. And these little things, I'll tell a friend I'm going to do this and I want to get it done, but I can just, I don't know, because I've done this my whole life, getting myself motivated. If I make my bed, I feel good. If I get this done, if I get 3 things off my task list, I feel good and I've done it. And I don't always have to go to get accountability from somebody else. But if I tell someone I'm going to do it, that really can sometimes push me to finish it. I remember when my first book came out about my grandfather, who was a Holocaust survivor, and I was like crazy trying to get it done because I was having this release party. And my sister said, just change the date if you can't get it done. And I said, what's the point? I can keep changing the date and never get it done. And at the beginning of the pandemic, I did a lot of motivating talks, how to get organized, how to get your goals. And I said to you, if the pandemic's going to be over in 3 months, you have to be home for 3 months. If you know it's going to be over, what would you like to have accomplished by then? And so you turn it as opposed to this free fall. We didn't know what was going on, but give yourself a focus. And for me, that's what worked. I'd been working on my book for so long. I finally said, you know what? This is it. I have to get it done. And I told people I was going to get it done and made myself accountable that way. And that helped because you can keep going. We think we're going to be here forever and we don't have to get it done. But you know what? Give yourself a deadline.
Yeah, I love it. And so people are saying writing groups and writer circles. Yeah, that's a great way. Having those are a fantastic way to be able to keep yourself accountable. Okay. Tip number 8, Felice, balance writing and promotion.
Yeah. Balancing writing and promotions. This is huge because even if you have a publisher, they're only going to give you so much time and attention, because they have so many authors and you're competing against a lot. So how do you do this? And for me, some days I have my writing hat on, and some days maybe I have my promoting hat on, or in the morning, I have more cognitive awareness of writing. That's better for me to write in the morning and my head is not tired yet. So in the afternoon, that's where I focus on promoting. If I can write from 6 to 10, then I do some work and then I can do a couple things for promoting. Sometimes maybe you do writing Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Tuesday, Thursdays, you do promotions. For me, I use Fridays as housekeeping. I return phone calls. I do other work like that. So I have no pressure of writing on those days. So it's not like I really need to get to my writing. It's my pass to get other things done, to go through those emails, because that's what works for me.
It's really hard. I find it very challenging to balance the writing and promotion. I'm a self-published indie author, and so I wear all the hats. I do everything. And this time around, it was a really big thing. See, I usually design my own book covers because, hey, I'm a graphic designer at work. And I thought, but I tried to do that this time around while I was writing. And it was coming out to be the kookiest looking cover ever. And I said, you know what? It's time to pass that on and hire somebody professional to do that. So that's what I did. And that freed me up. And of course, I'm just in love with the cover too. I never in a million years could have come up with what Anne McMahon came up with. There's something to be said about maybe there are certain things that you can pass off. And if you have the funds, the budget to do, then maybe hire a professional to do some of those things. That helps to clear your plate so that you can get back to writing and focus more on that. So it really depends on your situation. But that was one area that I said, I don't need to do this myself, and I'm better off not doing this myself. So that's part of marketing, right? And it's the whole distraction of social media that always gets me. And so it's a fine balance. What do other people do? So, Kelly, you can beat your head against the wall and waste a ton of time trying to do something outside of your ability. Exactly. Rather than hand it off. I completely agree. I think that it's a very smart move, strategic move to look at everything on your plate and say, what can I handle? What is in my sphere? What is good for me to focus on here, and what can I pass off if there are things you can and if you have the funding? It's really important to be able to be honest with yourself that way.
And it's a relief. You get it off your plate and you're like, you know what? Why didn't I do this sooner?
This is a big one on how to write when life is challenging. This is me to a T. All right. First off, COVID hit. I couldn't write for the first year and a half. I tried. My brain shut down. I was not in a creative mindset at all. The world was falling apart and I didn't know what to do. So what did I do? I decided to go in a whole different direction and started a graduate program. And some people thought I was nuts for, you can't write a book, but you're going to go into graduate school. It's just two wildly different extremes, but that's what my brain needed at the time. And that actually worked for me because now I'm back. And like you had said earlier, Felice, I wrote this book very quickly because all that creative energy was here and just couldn't wait to come out. And it was just, it just exploded onto the page. Thank God it was still there. Sometimes you have to give yourself that time, that space, that breath, that beat to be able to step back, give yourself that time. We've got things happening all the time. We've got death around us, right? When my dog died, that was incredibly difficult to get back to writing. And it was because of her spirit. I said she wouldn't want me to not do this because she died. So that was one way of tackling those emotions. It's about figuring out your emotions and realizing that sometimes life is going to give us sickness. It's going to give us disappointments. We are human beings. This is what happens, and life is going to happen. And I think that it's really wise to give yourself the grace to be able to have that space if you need it. Sometimes getting into writing is the best way to deal with those challenging moments. It's a great way to be able to explore your feelings and maybe learn new things and share those things with others. Yeah. Let's see what people are saying in the comments about this.
Yeah.
Ona, brain surgery. Yeah, these things happen. She said, I've written one novel since then, but now write essays. With the brain injury I have, it's too tough to write lengthy stuff. I love that you are still writing and you found what works for you.
Yeah.
It's really the most important thing is giving yourself that grace and not being tough on yourself and demanding more than you are able or capable at that moment to give. And it doesn't mean that you're a failure or that you gave up on yourself or any of that. Sometimes that's what you need to do for yourself. And you need to find what works. And I think it's really in finding that. We'll go into it the next slide, finding your why. But yeah, we've got a lot of comments here coming in about what blocks people. January 6th, somebody lost faith in everything and had no idea how to keep writing the book that they were writing. Carol, she journaled a lot during COVID, but that was me trying to process what was happening, not a creative outlet. Yeah, I appreciate that so much. I really do. Journaling is a great way to help release some of these emotions when life gets challenging.
And it's constantly challenging, right?
Constantly challenging.
I love this idea, giving characters your problems, trying to work through them. I love that. It's a great way through a character. And sometimes it's okay to just walk away from the writing and give yourself a break. I know when I can't write or think or focus, as an organizer, I'll go reorganize my sweaters. I'll redo my toiletries, use the other side of my brain just to shut off and walk away from that and then do something else, go for a bike ride or just change my perspective, get out of that writing thing because I don't want to have that pressure all the time. And again, we're doing this for fun. We're doing this for ourselves. So we have to make it, if you can change it to look at this is a gift we get to do and not why is it so hard to write? This is a gift. We have to remember that we're lucky that we get to do this.
Yeah, indeed. That is such a powerful phrase right there. All right. So the last point that we have is pinpointing your why.
I think this is the most important part. And I talk about the why. I've talked about it for years as far as living tiny. I lived in 90 square feet. And your why, whatever you do, whether you live in a tiny space or whether you're writing, why are you doing it? And it has to be your own. It has to come from you. You can't do it, have the same why as someone else. And I talk about the tiny space because if there were a couple times I woke up in a tiny apartment thinking, what was I thinking? I have no ceiling. This is crazy. And I reminded myself of my why. And that was to finish writing my grandfather's book. And every time I started freaking out about not having a kitchen or a couch, I'd remind myself of my why. So when it comes to writing, why are you writing? Why? Do you love it? Do you feel like you have a story to tell? Why are you doing this? Nobody's holding a gun to your head. Why are you writing? And this is something else. Write it down. And it can change from story to story, from book to book. But why did you decide to want to be a writer? Because you love it? I think it's important to ask yourself why you write.
Yeah, and I can speak from being an indie author well over a decade now. Initially, I didn't write to be published. I wrote because I was exploring things in my mind and through my character of The Fish Room. It was my first novel. And I just started writing this book because I was thinking about this, just being head of this character I created out of nowhere. And it helped me to explore myself, my sexuality, my life. And it was really therapeutic for me. And I never, while I was writing that, even thought about publishing it because I think back then Amazon wasn't even there. KDP wasn't available. This was way back in early 2003. I just wrote to have fun with it. And that joy of writing, I couldn't wait to sit down and write every day because it was like, I couldn't wait to learn more about this character, Emma, and what she was going to go through and how she would deal with it. And I found that to be a lot of fun. I felt, wow, I'm creating all these new friends in my head. And that was a lot of fun. And then as I started writing for myself personally, I started looking at it more from a business point of view once I started publishing. And that took some of the fun out of it. And that was part of my struggle when I stopped writing 4 years ago was, I don't want this to be about money. Yes, I love selling books. Don't get me wrong. I would be thrilled if everybody here went out and bought Unpuzzled in March. I'm not saying that, but what I am saying is it can't be my main driver. And it wasn't for this book. This book was, I wanted to learn about Colombian culture. So I went there and I explored it. I lived it. I immersed myself in the culture and I loved it. And I had a great time. And I just had fun back in the head of the character, just like I did with my first book. I just had fun with it. And that was my why, is learning things and sharing it. So find your why, figure out what it is. Maybe it is to make money. That's okay too. Whatever your why is, I think it's really important to write that down, like you said, Felice, and have it somewhere to remind you in those moments where you're feeling frustrated, why you're doing this in the first place.
Wait, you're making money from writing? Okay. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, I love what people are writing. It's cathartic. Writing has always been theirs. When it helps make sense of the world. Absolutely, all these things. Creative outlets. It's so true. It's so true.
Indeed. Remember to have fun. This is about having fun. It's not about torturing yourself and getting down on yourself and beating yourself up because you didn't hit a goal and you messed up and maybe you got a bad review. None of that really matters in the grand scheme of writing. It's all about enjoying yourself, having a good time with it, and just knowing your why and fulfilling that why. We have some really great chat, some comments coming in. Kelly's saying that it's a cathartic process, writing. Yeah, it allows me to process ideas, explore the human condition, and it lets me research to my heart's content. Ashley is saying writing is one thing that has always been mine. Oh, I love that. No matter what other people wanted of me or needed it from me, and my characters would kill me if I didn't finish this series. Accountability, even with characters. That's fantastic. Yeah. All right.
This is great.
So
I mean,
it's been great. I hope that it's been valuable for everybody, that you all got some great tips and suggestions and strategies you can walk away with so that you can go and enjoy the craft of writing.
Yeah. And post an intention you want to do and tag us. We'll give you high fives back.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah. Connect with us on social. So Felice and I are connected. We're on Instagram, on YouTube. We're on Facebook. I think I'm on TikTok. I opened up a TikTok. I don't really do much with it, but I'm there. So feel free to connect with me online.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
all over the place. Yeah, it's fun, but we won't be responding when we're in our writing seats, when we've got the timer on, but we will after.
That's right. Absolutely.
Yeah. Start this,
right.
go with this, take these lessons and start Monday morning. Maybe that's it. Make yourself accountable.
Indeed. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Really appreciate your time. And hey, happy writing. Take care.
Yeah. Good luck. Thank you.
Bye.
Take care.